Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Well, I recently learned that a very dear friend of mine, a man that was instrumental in my life, as was Jim Doherty. For you guys newcomers, you're probably not going to know what I'm talking about, but please stay. I know you guys are all into the Roy DeMeo and the mafia stuff. This is going to be about my dear friend, Detective Tom F. Harkins of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. He passed away on February 6th of this year after fighting cancer for, I think it was 20 years, his wife told me. And I just like to go down memory lane and tell you about his career, or part of his career that I was involved in. Very important part of his career, I believe. I mean, this happened, he passed in February. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it now. I've known him since 1975. And he was a great guy. He influenced me greatly. Tommy was an Irish Catholic, like me, and like Jim Doherty. I'm going to show you the three of us. This picture was taken at my book party in 1996. Yeah, 1996. So here we are. This is Tommy, God bless his soul, yours truly, and Jim Doherty, the three Irishmen. And us Irish, we stick together. I mean, the thing that I most remember about these two is that they never, ever treated me like a snitch. They never, ever I was treated like one of the members of the squad, which is these guys right here. That's Tommy, that's Jimmy, that's Americo Mercado, who I later would be in business with. And that's Greg, who was shot on the job. This is Josh Wainwright. And this guy, I really didn't know that, but this guy, he was like an old school guy. I really didn't get along with him too good. And this piece of shit, I couldn't stand. His name was Clabby. I couldn't, I hope you watch this. I come, boom. It was because of this guy, I wound up saying, fuck, and I left the DA's office because he treated me like a piece of shit. God bless you, Tommy. So, I'm sorry I'm not on my game now, but I'm going to be telling two stories. First, I want to memorialize him. Tommy was born July 24th, 1938, coming up on his birthday, to February 6th, 2024. He married his, high school sweetheart, Anne Marie. And that's a picture of them right there. Hope you guys are seeing this. This was him towards the end of his life with his grandchild. How do I do this? Tommy was the type of detective. All right, let me tell you about his career. Tommy was the one with his picture with the police hat. Tommy was a 100% super straight, by the book cop. But that doesn't mean that he didn't do what he had to do to get the job done. He was super straight. I remember he was on one of my wires. We had a telephone wiretap, and there's a lot of legal things. You know, you get the wiretap for 90 days. What signs it, and then you have to get it renewed before it expires. And in order to do that, you have to show the judge who issued the warrant, the wiretap, proof that they're talking criminal stuff on the phone. They're using the phone to do criminal business. So one of the rules is that if another family member picks up the phone, like they had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, big reel-to-reel. They had a surveillance, not a surveillance room, but they had a room, electronic room. That's what they called it. And there was 5 phones, 5 answering machines, and there would be numbers there would be notes on each phone, the phone number, do not pick up, and so on and so on. And Tommy would love that. He loved listening to wires. So when the phone rang at the subject's residence, a light would come on, and he pushed the button, and he would have to determine whether or not it was the subject. And if it wasn't, you're supposed to turn it off and not listen. And of course, you know, that's a big part of it. But Tommy wouldn't listen. If a family member picked up the phone, Tommy would turn the recorder off. He would monitor it, but he wouldn't record it, and he would take notes. So they used to laugh. Jim Doherty used to say, "Oh, I want to know everything that's going on. Don't let that shit roll." Tommy wouldn't do it. Tommy wouldn't do it. And we became very good friends. And I'm going to be telling a story that's unbelievable. That is documented. Okay. So, and my daughter is going to read this to you. Not now. Don't get nervous. Is going to read this letter. So, when I was with the DEA, okay, so I was a confidential informant with the Manhattan DA's office. They got me out of jail, and I would always pay them back. I didn't give a shit. I just kept giving them information. So it got to the point where everybody in the squad, except that one prick that I pointed out, would go, "Fuck, how does he do this? How do I do it? I don't know how man, God, I don't know how I did all of these jobs. I don't know how I did, but I did. Documented, you can't take it away from me." So when I was working with the DEA, I started doing coke, started drinking. I got arrested 10 or 12 times in New York, in New Jersey, in Arizona, in Florida. I would get popped for this DUI shit. Make a phone call. A lot of times I didn't even get arrested. They just came and got me. Detective, one of these guys would come and get me out. And if I couldn't contact them, if it was on a weekend or something, I'd take the collar, and then I would call them, and then they would fix it. So in 1990, okay, so now 1991 comes along, and there's a jewelry heist on Park Avenue under the Pan Am building. So you got Park Avenue, which is north from the Pan Am building. Then you have South Park Avenue, which is not like really the rich people. So for those of you that are not in New York, when you're traveling northbound on South Park Avenue, you go up a ramp and you go under there's a tunnel. You go under the Pan Am building, which is now the MetLife building, I think, and you go under there. So there was an Asian gang, and there was a jeweler. The jeweler had been robbed once or twice before by this Asian gang because the Asian gang had a hook in the jewelry uh, store on 47th Street, the Diamond District. And she would say, she would pick up the phone, was later found out, okay, they're going to be leaving with $300,000 worth of jewels. Get them. And they would follow the guy. So and on this one particular day, now, mind you, there was 3 jewelers in the car with the jewels. They go under the Pan Am building. Now, if any of you have been there, it's like a tunnel. It's secluded. Once you stop, once you cut a car off in there, which is what they did, they got out with guns. Now, they were robbed once or twice before. The jeweler, being insured, right? He just gave them the jewelry. Now, this time, they got him in a place. They take the jewelry and they start shooting. Now, in this letter from the Manhattan DA's office to the Suffolk County DA's office, it says 1 person was murdered and 2 others were shot. I think the other 2 didn't make it. I think all 3 of them. So they got a triple homicide. So Tommy didn't have the case, but that case was in the 2nd homicide zone, which those guys worked out at a 1-7 precinct on the east side, 2nd Avenue over there. That's who caught the case. And so I don't know why Tommy did this. He knew damn well. Okay, he knew I knew mafia guys. He knew I knew a lot of black guys. I was friends with a bunch of black guys. So, but I didn't know any Asian guys. I never did any time with an Asian. I didn't know. I didn't know. I don't know shit. I think it was the White Ghost or something. They were a gang from Chinatown. These guys were like no joke. So anyway, instead of going, stick them up, give me the shit, and they did. Then they fucking blasted them. There were 3 of them. They just shot in the thing. So how did I find out? Nobody knew that. All I knew was they got 3 dead bodies. They didn't know. The cops didn't know shit. But I did. I found out. So Tommy gives me a call. I mean, it just tells how great of a detective he was. Tommy gives me a call. I'm living in the Bronx at the time. And he says, Kevin, this is what happened. I want you to I want these guys bad. I want them. And I says, okay, well, tell me who they are and do all. And so I knew, having done time in prison, I knew people in Brooklyn. I knew people in Harlem. I knew everybody. I really did. I fucking knew everybody, except Asian guys. Never fucking hung out with no Asian guy. Never. He says, I need you to work this case. I need you to find out. I need you to ask everybody you know. I said, Tommy, I don't know anybody. So now give me Gus's picture. So I start asking around if anybody knew any information about this murder robbery. And within days, contacted this guy right here. He was my friend, and I started talking to him. I don't know why I spoke to this guy. He's from Queens. He's not even from Manhattan. He was a car dealer. What the hell made me contact Gus Tellis and talk to him about this? I did. And you know what he said? Look, yeah, I know who did it. He goes, I know who did it. I saw all 3 of them. I was driving in, he was a New York City cab driver at the time. I was right behind them when they stopped the car. They cut the car off. They came out and they started blasting. And I can identify all of them. Like, what the fuck? Like this is something that you wouldn't even put in a movie because it's so unfucking believable that within days after Tommy contacting me, I was just talking to him in passing. This guy, first of all, let me tell you 2 things about him. super honest guy, car dealer. And let me tell you something else about him. Okay? And this happened all in the same time. I got this he was the guy who got beat up with me in the greatest car chase in New York City's history, where he and I sued the New York City Police Department and we got a settlement of $290,000. That's who this guy wound up becoming, all in this time zone. Okay, so what the fuck? I can't believe it. Thank you, Gus Tellis. So anyway, to make a long story short, they grabbed the three guys. They already had an idea who it was. And when I positively identified him in a photo lineup and then in a regular one, he then went to the grand jury. And I was trying to get him money. I think I got him. I think I was able to get him a 500 or a grand or something. But he was scared shit. He didn't want. When he was in the grand jury outside the grand jury room waiting to be called in, Tommy gave him a shield and put a shield on him so that anybody that was there that knew these guys would think he was a detective. That's what we did to him. Tommy was a great guy. I deeply miss him. I miss him more now than I knew, anyway. And so that was one case that would not have never, ever, ever have been solved if Tommy didn't ask me to find out who did it, an Irish guy. It was they knew it was an Asian. They knew. And then, of course, so this is what happened. I had the DUI, and then what happened? I got drunk again with Gus, and we had the car chase. Tommy didn't have to help me out on that one. But I'm going to get into that. Maybe I'm going to do another video on that. Now, when he told me this, I did it for nothing because he's my friend. He's my friend. And these people murdered 3 people is what they did. Fuck them. So I remember going to Hogan Place and me and Tommy went to lunch. We came back from lunch and this woman comes out of one Hogan Place. Her name was Deborah Galb. Gelb. She comes out. Now she heard about me, right? She comes out of the spitting door, boom. And I'm talking to Tommy, and she comes right over. Oh, hi, Tommy. And she's looking at me like I'm a cop, right? Blah, 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 blah. And hey, this is my friend Kevin. He's our CI, and he was the one that is putting this case together. I don't know if I already did it. No, this is before. So he's helping us on this. And I go to shake the bitch's hand right on Hogan Place, right in front. I go to shake her hand. And she didn't. She wouldn't shake my hand. And I looked at Tommy, and Tommy went, "Oh fuck, he's gonna do something." Tommy gets into between. He goes. So then she goes. So then Tommy goes, "No, he's had a special history of cooperation with our office since 1975." Then what do you think the stupid bitch says? Oh, and what? And so what am I supposed to believe? You're gonna help us out of the goodness of your heart? That's what that bitch said. And I was like now, because that's what I was really doing. And that bitch, oh man, you're doing this in the goodness of your heart? Am I supposed to believe that you're doing this? At that time, I didn't even have no case. I didn't have no open case. I didn't have nothing at that time. At that time, I had shit. But soon after, I did get fucking pinched on the DUI. So now I get pinched in Suffolk County on a DUI, right? Now, my boy already testified. He's getting cold feet, and it's up to me to convince him that he's got to do this. It's morally right. I took pictures of the people that were killed, their family, their kids. So I take a comma for the DUI, and I think, okay, although I got arrested 10 times for DUI, I never got convicted of one, not one. But what do you think happens? They have an organization called Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Oh, yeah, they got that fucking thing. And they, when you get a DUI arrest, that bitch from Mothers Against Drunk Driving, she can look at your record. And they looked at mine and said, oh, 10 fucking DUIs. That bitch was in the court every day I showed up. Like, oh, fucking put this guy in. I never got convicted. But so now the bureau chief of Suffolk County, so now Jim Doherty, like my dad, is trying to get this thing squashed. They were trying to get me a driving while impaired, a fine, but those bitches were like, he got 10 fucking DUIs all over the country. This fucking guy. I was wild. I was fucking wild. So then the bureau chief he goes to the bureau chief. So now, in the back of this book, it says, where's Bob Creighton? Bob Creighton, who was the police commissioner of Suffolk County, New York, right here. I don't know if you can see it. Bob Creighton endorsed my book. That's what kind of juice I had. So Jimmy goes to Bob Creighton. They go to this woman, this bitch, another bitch. Fucking, not that I'm, and I'm sure I'm gonna be pissing all the women up, but these two, there were a couple of bitches. That is what they were. So she goes, oh, I can't do nothing. He's got the Mothers Against Drunk Driving. This is either he pleads guilty or I'm taking him to trial. So I was facing the max, I think 6 months. 6 months I'm doing my head. 6 months with good time. I think it's like 4 months. Fucking take me. I don't give a shit. I got a hook with Bob Creighton. I'll go on to some camp or something, picking up litter all fucking day. I wasn't sweating that DUI one bit. Wasn't sweating it. So now I'm getting kind of fucked. So now this happens. Well, that was happening. So now I go, hey, you know what, Tommy? You got to tell the DA, you got to contact this DA because they're not going to put me in jail. And when I put them in jail, those three Asian gang fuckers. So you can make you tell this bureau chief in Suffolk County that if I don't get cut loose right now, that I'll take your 4 months and I'll tell my boy not to fucking testify and he's scared and I won't do nothing. Got that? So either you get the three guys that murdered somebody or you get my misdemeanor DUI. I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want to do. That's what I said. So, of course, Deborah Geld from the Trial Bureau 80, homicide, that's what she was. Let me tell you what her phone number was. Her phone number was 212, 335-4147. If you call that number, it'll be the DA's office, right? Here on the letter. Get a copy of my book. You can read the whole thing, but I'm having my daughter read it. So now she was another bitch. This one was a real bitch. She wouldn't even shake my hands when I was helping her. And Tommy had to go and, hey, that's exactly what he did. Oh, don't piss him off. He'll fucking walk away. So she didn't know what to do. And she never shook my hand. So here's the poetic justice. So now Tommy, at this time, was a detective first class. That's pretty hard to achieve. Those guys get lieutenant's pay, and they're not a supervisor and they don't have to fucking, they're just a detective, but they're making as much as a lieutenant. back then. So the next thing I know, Tommy tells me, come down to the office. And he hands me this letter. It's going out to the DA, and they're going to squash your case. So I read the letter, just like my daughter's going to read it in here now. I read the letter, and I went, wow, I can't believe she wrote that. I mean, it was heartfelt. When Kaylee reads this letter, or if you got a copy of this book, Cop Without a Badge, copy of this letter is in the back of the book. And that's what Kaylee's going to be reading it from. So when I read it, it almost brought tears to my eyes. And I said, wow, I thought she was such a bitch. Tommy goes, she is. She didn't write that. I did. I took it into her office and I said, sign this right now. God bless you, Tommy. He made her sign this. So without further ado, Kaylee, because Kaylee's soft-spoken, she's from California. She ain't from there. I try to give her some culture with my accent. Hey, Daddy. All right, I'm going to introduce my daughter, Kaylee, and she's going to read this letter. Let me explain the letter. This is from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to, James Creighton. I thought it was Bob Creighton.
No, it's Catterson.
Catterson. Who's Catterson?
It says Honorable James Catterson.
Oh, he was the Robert Creighton, chief of detectives. Okay, so it was written to the head of the DA in Suffolk County. It was the DA. And it was also addressed to Robert Creighton, chief investigator for the Suffolk County Police Department, who endorsed my book, who's my friend. They're all my friends. It's great to have these kind of friends. So now, when I read the letter, I said, wow, I thought she was such a bitch. She wouldn't even shake my hand, Tom. She didn't write that. I said, what do you mean she wrote? She signed it. She signed it right here. That's her signature right there. Can you see it? He goes, no, she didn't. I wrote the letter and I made that bitch sign it. So try to say, so here's how the letter reads. Thank you, Tommy. God bless you. I'll never forget you for the rest of my life.
District Attorney of the County of New York, 1 Hogan Place, New York, New York. April 10, 1992. Honorable James Catterson, District Attorney, Suffolk County. Attention, Robert Creighton, Chief Investigator. Sir, I am an Assistant District Attorney assigned to Trial Bureau 80 here at the District Attorney's Office, New York County. I am preparing a case for trial in which the defendant is charged with the homicide of one victim and the shooting of others in a robbery which took place last year. I am writing to you regarding Kevin Marr, who was instrumental in securing for this office information and assistance which enabled us to make a positive identification and arrest of the defendant in this case. It is significant also to point out that Kevin came forward with this help without seeking anything in return for himself. He has had a 17-year special rapport and record of cooperation with one of our senior detectives, Thomas Harkins, which began in 1975 with our detective and a senior investigator on your staff, who was the supervisor of Detective Harkins then, James Doherty. Kevin's history of cooperation is remarkable in that only on the initial contact with him did he request any help from us back in 1975. Since then, and only through his direct involvement, were we able to make arrests, prevent serious injuries or death, and obtain convictions in the following types of cases. 1. The planned homicide of one man by his partner in business. 2. The planned armed robberies at residences throughout New York and New Jersey by a gang, including members of organized crime who posed as policemen. 3. The planned robberies of business people in their driveways at home, arriving at night with the day's receipts by a gang in Queens. 4. The planned robbery of an off-duty police officer who also had a jewelry business. A gang of 5 men abused him in his driveway as he arrived home one night. They were armed with handguns and a shotgun. At great personal risk to himself and owing nothing to this office, Kevin repeatedly gave us assistance over the years, the most recent of which is the case I cited in the opening paragraph. Kevin has a matter pending in your jurisdiction. He was arrested and charged with driving while intoxicated. His next scheduled appearance on this matter is in May. The foregoing information is provided to you for the purpose of assisting you and the court in determining the ultimate disposition of the pending case, and hope you and the court will take it into consideration. If any further information regarding Kevin is required by your office on this matter, please call me and/or the following: Thomas F. Harkins, Detective, District Attorney's Office, New York County; James Doherty, Senior Investigator, Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. Respectfully and with appreciation, Deborah Gelb, Assistant District Attorney, Trial Bureau 80, New York, New York.
Wow. That brings water to my eyes. Like when I read that, I couldn't believe the woman that wouldn't even shake my hand acknowledged that I put myself in danger bringing these people to justice. Wouldn't shake my hand. We tried to look her up under the New York bar, and I guess she's not a practicing attorney anymore. So that's who Tommy was. He was always concerned about me, like Jim Doherty and Josh Wainwright. So I hope this will make people understand that you do what's right in life, no matter how it falls. I was brought up in the South Bronx and the North Bronx, and nobody hated snitches more than me. But when somebody, the things that they had, the hoops that they had to jump through, Jimmy, Tommy, and Josh Wainwright, to get me out of jail, the hoops that they had to do to get me out. I don't know why they did it. And even when I would ask them, why did you go through all that trouble for me over a stolen rug? Although it wasn't any stolen rug. This is the district attorney, Morgenthau. That's his office. He had just became the DA of New York County like 2 months before that in 1975. Over a rug. I think it was more than just a rug. I think they just liked me. I don't know. I don't know why they went to bat for me the way they did. And as the letter says, only the one time. And I always wanted to be a cop when I was a kid. That's why the book is Cop Without a Bad. Because I didn't, sometimes I did a lot of these cases, I didn't even get paid. The triple murder and release case, this case, there was other cases that I had to work, somebody was going to get murdered, that I just did because I'm a Roman Catholic. I was brought up in a parochial, I don't know. But I'm just telling you how that man, Jim Doherty, Josh Wainwright, changed my life to where I am today. I miss you, Tommy. And Anne Marie, God bless you. I'm going to be praying for you. If you guys would say a little prayer for him, I know you guys don't know him, but he was a great cop, a great, true, blue, loyal friend.